Today, how one of the 4 previous Wayne Gretzky PSA 10s ended up in a CGC slab, and we catch up with Grant Paterson's hobby grind across the globe over the past couple months. Welcome back to episode 410 of the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast, presented by our good friends at Upper Deck.
It's your friendly neighborhood hockey-loving goofballs. Welcome to the Gong Show.
Hello, hobby family. Happy Thursday. Welcome back to the Hockey Cards Gong Show podcast. My name is Josh. I'm here with California Dave and the exalted, the effervescent Babalui is doing his producer thing, producer vibe. No Philip. He is driving across Canada as we speak, headed east, and he'll stop at probably every seedy hotel he can find along the way.
Except for when you listen to this. He'll already be there, but you know.
Yeah.
That transition thing. What do you call it?
Fourth wall.
Yeah.
The fourth wall. Yeah.
Yeah, we've pre-recording a little bit of episode to let you behind the curtain of the Gong Show a little bit, but we have a great show for you today. Very, very excited about it. We are in Halifax. We'll be back on Monday with our Halifax Sport Card Expo recap show, which is always a favorite of people. We'll be recording it live from a vintage, maybe haunted Airbnb in downtown. Did you know it's actually right on the ocean?
Yes.
Very cool. Maybe Louis will go swimming.
I can.
Is there surf? Can I surf there?
I don't know. Never
There's
been
probably
there.
no break.
Yeah. Okay, a couple quick announcements, and we'll get into our 2 awesome interviews. Gong Show breaks. So Saturday night, we can't stop, won't stop. Gong Show breaks with our guy Tori. He'll be back at it. Grab your spots now at gongshowbreaks.com. Hope to see you all in the chat at 7:30 Eastern on the Gong Show YouTube channel. We'll be tuning in from Halifax and making fun of Tori.
Yeah,
buddy.
He's looking super buff in that picture. He's been
He's been working out.
He's weights.
He's getting his brake fingers.
That's right.
A workout.
Have you seen my super suit?
GongShowBreaks.com. Want to do a very quick sponsor shout out because it's not our typical episode today. It's basically just 2 very interesting interviews. Many thanks to our core sponsors. Of course, Upper Deck, our title sponsor, and then Slab Sharks and GP Sports and Total Sports. They 100% make this show possible. They are fantastic hobby companies, and we put the full weight of our endorsements behind them, as goofy as we are, and maybe as little as those mean. But they're there. Mm-hmm. Regardless, and please check them out. I would say especially Upper Deck, since they're the ones that make hockey cards, and it'd be kind of hard and weird to be a hobbyist of current products if you weren't into Upper Deck.
They make our fun and some days our misery.
No, well, then that's what you said.
That's
Quoted
my luck.
Babalui. For Dave and I, they are only fun.
Only fun.
Only fun.
Okay, fine.
Well, Dave, are you and Phil planning a Halifax takeover for Friday Nights with Phil this week?
Yeah, I don't know what it's gonna be on. Probably our cell phones, maybe a laptop. I don't really know. We
have I ever let you down?
No, never.
I got stuff for you.
Yeah. We got Louis as a backup, and we got phones as backup. I mean, I don't know if I'm gonna be still jet lagged from my red-eye flight, but I'm bringing with me a card that I'm very, very excited to show Phil. So definitely at least tune in for that part.
Which princess?
So cute.
What's that?
Which Disney princess?
Card?
Yeah.
You're going to have to wait and find out.
Okay.
Yeah. But we do know he's into redheads. So, just throwing that out.
Little Mermaid.
Wow.
That's my guess.
Maybe.
You guys can't stop, won't stop. So again, tune into Friday Nights with Phil at 9 p.m. Eastern on Friday night, coming to you live from Halifax. And then lastly,
That'll
before
be
we get
10 o'clock there.
11 o'clock. It's 2 hours. Oh yeah, 10 o'clock Eastern.
No, 10 o'clock.
I know we're old. We're old. You're gonna.
Oh my gosh, it's gonna be so late.
You might have to pull a Victoria to Phil, and I need sleep.
You're like,
it's
kind of my bedtime.
I need to go.
You're gonna be running on adrenaline, bud.
Yeah.
Well, and really, it's 6 o'clock California time, so I'll still be
fair.
You're fine.
Yeah, I'll be doing better.
biological clock will be all messed up.
But I just realized that, I'm like, man, that's gonna be 10 o'clock. That's gonna be late.
Wow.
So
Okay, lastly, a reminder that our show, this show, the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast, we are a Patreon podcast. So we do rely on the support of the good listener, good watcher to help us cover show expenses, produce more, and what we hope to be better hockey card content, and then fun initiatives and a small way to grow the hobby. You can support our show for as little as $5 a month. Still get that Future Watch Gonger title as one of the first 999 supporters. You get access to our Discord, and that's the main part of it. It's our community. We have an awesome, amazing community. And I guarantee you'll find like-minded collectors. That we have content shows coming out of it. People that shack up together in a plutonic way at the expo. I think so, anyways.
That we know
at the
of,
expos
yeah.
that we know of. And we do fantasy hockey, tons of stuff from contests, games, prizes, all that good stuff. And we'd love to have you as part of our community. If you want to join, just go to our website, hockeycardsgongshow.com, click on the Become a Patron link at the top of the page, or go to Patreon directly, patreon.com. Search for us. We are the Hockey Cards Gong Show. Link in the show description, both YouTube and podcast apps, and our Instagram and TikTok profiles, too. Okay, Baba Louie, what's the game plan for today's pod?
Before I get to it, speaking of the whole Discord and people shacking up with people, I was listening to the boys' second episode on cards and coffee, or I'll hack it. Cardboard coffee.
Caffeine and cardboard.
Top shelf, caffeine, sniper, something.
I think you're
you're really helping them out right now. They're so happy.
Caffeine and cardboard.
Yeah, okay.
I was listening to the show today, a few days ago. They're like, I think what I hear Tori say, they need to find like an 8-bedroom house. They went from 3, now they're up 3 guys. Now they're up to like 8.
Yeah,
shacking.
That's the best part. I mean, this is exactly what we wanted to bring people together and for lonely men to make friends.
You get what you put into it. So you can join the Discord and not be active, and you're not going to really gain too much from it. But if you engage in the conversations and put yourself out there, you're going to get so much more in return. So just keep that in mind.
Amen.
All right. Moving right along here with the Gong Show game plan. Starting off with how a Gretzky PSA 10 rookie ended up in a CGC slab with CGC's Andy Broome. Is that right,
Broome.
Josh? Broome. Okay.
Yeah.
Then catching up with Grant Paterson from GP Sports Cards and all of his hobby travels. And then Dave wants to share some personal pickups.
Yeah, he's retired on a fixed income, but still has. We had to cut him down, Dave. We only paid for 5-hour episodes, and he had thousands of cards to share. So we said pick a handful. And
I did have to pick my top 5. So
good.
The other day we had a very fun opportunity, California David and I, to chat with a representative from CGC for the first time. And not only a representative, actually a vice president and their head grader, Andy Broome, who's a super nice guy. And of course, the main context of the conversation was the Gretzky rookie PSA Topps PSA 10 that disappeared and then reappeared in a CGC holder with an impersonato. I mean, all sorts of fascinating there in of itself. And I guarantee you'll enjoy this conversation with Andy right now. Well, for a long time in our hockey hobby, we had 2 copies of Gretzky rookies in the PSA 10 in both O-Pee-Chee and Topps. And then a number of months ago, one disappeared. It was a hobby mystery. And in the last couple of weeks, some light has been shed on that mystery and have a lot of information. We know what happened to the card now, and something kind of incredible actually happened to it. And here to talk with us about that is Andy Broome, who is the vice president at CGC Grading, also the head grader, I believe. Is that correct, Andy?
That is correct.
All right. Well, thank you for joining the show. Really appreciate your time. Before we get into the Gretzky, I want to start with anyone that's not familiar with you, your background a little bit, like when you got, how you got into grading, how long you've been doing it, so on and so forth.
Yeah. So, well, I've been professionally grading cards now for, this is 27 years. Kind of hard to believe when you hear it out loud. But yeah, this card grading has really been the majority of my adult life. I started collecting just like everybody else when I was young. I was about 8 years old, and I'm going to date myself a little bit, but I really got started in that first big hobby boom of the '80s, and I never stopped. My mom didn't throw my baseball cards out; she threw me out, so I took the cards with me. But yeah, just this is what I do. I've been doing it for a long time.
How long have you been at CGC now?
So I came over to CGC, came over to Certified Collectibles Group in 2020 to start. At the time was CSG, which was the sports division of our card grading. And since we've merged all card grading into under the CGC umbrella. So to answer the question, we're almost at 6 years now.
Wow, that's pretty incredible. Okay, so you're the right person for us to talk to, and we're gonna do sort of a little sneak peek to kind of why you're here today, as well, just for us to learn more about some of your efforts and at CGC what you guys are doing to grow and serve the hobby. But we have this, which is pretty incredible. It's a 1979 Topps Wayne Gretzky rookie. You guys have graded it with the Gem Mint grade and an Auto 10 grade. And as we talked about, or I talked about a second ago, this was, I think as most people know now, was one of the Topps PSA 10s. And then voila, is now in the CGC holder with a autograph, an in-person autograph that was added to the card as well. So my first question is, when did this kind of come up on your radar that this was a possibility?
So that this all came about on our radar a few months back, sometime in this early spring, is when we first learned about it.
What was your kind of even your personal reaction to it?
Well, I mean, it's a Gem Mint Gretzky rookie with one of the best looking autos I've ever seen. So I mean, it was quite exciting. I'm a hockey fan. I collect vintage hockey, mostly like pre-war and up into the '50s.
Yeah.
But I mean, if this doesn't floor you when you first see it, how are you a card collector? No matter what sport you collect.
Were you part of like the process of actually cracking the card to grade and the personal like watching over of the autograph, or how did that kind of come about?
Yeah, I was not there for that. The customer actually was the one who did that work, having removed the card. If it was my card, I would be the only one I would allow crack it out. So I definitely can understand that. But yeah, no, the customer did that work prior to submitting it.
Okay, so you weren't involved, but I mean, we can all kind of, we're all friends now, and we can sort of sit around and I don't know, how bad would you be shaking trying to remove a card? Well, you've probably done it a million times, but for a novice like us, I don't know if I could do it. I mean, the whole proposition is kind of terrifying in of itself, right? Because I'm assuming underlined in all of this is that there was no guarantee that you were going to, it's not like you said, crack her out and we'll give her a 10, right? The card had to, when you graded it, had to grade out a 10, correct?
Yeah, I'll start there 100%. I mean, there's no guarantees. When you're removing a card from a holder for whatever reason, all bets are off. It is a huge risk. And novice or expert, sometimes expert is even worse because you may get a little comfortable and, look, I've said before when talking about the Wagner card, getting the chance to grade and authenticate a Wagner. And I've said before, it's just cardboard. It was printed on the same sheets as common T206s, which is true. And same thing with the Gretzky. It's just piece of cardboard. But no, we're talking about a lot of money, right, at stake. And especially when we're talking about high grade a card, because the difference between a 10 and an accidental touch on the corner as it's being cracked out or the surface gets an abrasion. I mean, that's an incredible amount of money lost there just from one tiny mistake. We're not talking about, this isn't like a 7. This is a Gem Mint card. So yeah, I mean, I would, there would be some nervousness for sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think too, obviously it's a very valuable card and that you're right. That's important. But to the hobby itself, to the hockey hobby, these are 4 very important cards. Right. And so it's the loss of value for one person, but the loss of a treasured grail for the hobby is sort of, I think, what else is at stake too.
100%. And that's the other thing is, monetary loss aside, if something was to happen to that, you're absolutely right. There's no replacing it. It's now removed from the hobby in a sense, right? It's no longer a gem mint quality card. And, that was one thing I was thankful for when I first saw the card, that it was successfully cracked out, and the card's beautiful. It's absolutely it's stunning. The condition.
Were you the one who specifically graded the card, or was it a team, or how did that kind of go down?
So generally, most all cards are seen by at least two graders in our operations, and that's dependent. Some cards may have more, just depend on what the card is, and it's not necessarily tied to dollar value. However, many times when we have high value cards, what we call our walkthrough service, if we have a walkthrough card, generally we do have more than a couple look at a card. And it's really more, it's consistency is one thing, which is very important to us, but it's actually more important too that all the graders do get to see this and they understand, this is what a Gem Mint Tim Topps Gretzky rookie looks like. And so it's a combination of the two. But yeah, in this case, this was definitely something that I wanted the team here at headquarters to get a chance to look over and really see A, what the card looks like, and B, let's all make sure we are on the same page, that we do agree that nothing's happened to the card and it's still a Gem Mint 10.
So in reading your bio, and you talked a little bit about this, so you've been doing this 27 years, your specialty is in vintage. How many Gretzkys do you think you've graded in your lifetime as a grader? Gretzky rookies.
Well, that's one I actually have an idea of, because I did the Toronto Expo twice a year for nearly 20 years. And it was always I won't say joke, but it's always a running thing that the graders had was, since I did all the vintage, how many Gretzky rookies am I going to do here at this show? And then we'd also keep track of the counterfeits. And so on average, each of those shows would I would do it, between 50 and 70 at the show. And those were almost all O-Pee-Chee. It was very rare that I saw a Topps. If we did, it might be one. And so, that's just at that show. And then through the office, it's gotta be in the thousands by now. Yeah.
Yeah. What percentage was counterfeit, if you were to guess, that would come through?
So the Gretzky O-Pee-Chee rookie is one of the most counterfeited cards in the industry, no doubt. It's right up there with the Jordan rookie. So generally when we see a fake, it's the O-Pee-Chee. I've seen one Topps counterfeit that I can recall. I don't think I've seen more than one, but just one Topps counterfeit over the years, which was odd. And what's really interesting, take this stat for what it's worth, but doing all those expos in Toronto, the number of counterfeits I saw were very few. For whatever reason, I see mostly, we see the fakes here in the States and being submitted and things of that nature. But like at the shows, there were always some counterfeits, but it was a small number compared to the genuine.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. We talk about this card a lot on our shows, on our top 5 countdown that we do every week. And, for 4 years now, I've studied this card. And one of the things I like to tell people is that the Topps Gretzky rookie is almost like a hobby, or the Gretzky rookie, both Topps and O-Pee-Chee, is almost a hobby in of itself. These cards are so intricate. There's so much going on. They're so different between the O-Pee-Chee and the Topps in of itself. And, from registration to, the rough cut on the O-Pee-Chee. And I would imagine this is one of the more technical cards in all of sports cards to grade. Am I correct in saying that?
Well, it definitely can be. It has some very unique issues, I'll say, to the card. The wire cutting you mentioned is the big one, right? That affects all O-Pee-Chee cards. And it's, it's understood how they were cut, and it's allowable in the card grading space, right? As far as the grading, it's to what degree is that ragged cut? That's one aspect. Coupled with quality control of that era, centering is always an issue with the Gretzky rookie. Print quality, not just the difference between the Topps and the O-Pee-Chee prints, but within the Topps and within the O-Pee-Chee prints, with known printing defects, like there's some print lines. There's one version of the Gretzky rookie has the print line on the back, and so yeah, there are a lot of technical issues with this card in particular. I think that's it's definitely got more than your average card. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any insight as to? It's obviously a big feather in the cap for CGC to have this card land on your grading desk. And do you have any idea, like, or did the collector tell you guys why he chose CGC for the new home for this card?
You know, I think it was a combination of reasons that the customer selected us. You know, part of the reason is, you know, people, once they've used our service, they see our expertise and they see our holder, they get it, right? They understand it. And this is one customer that understood, who is what I would call a high-end collector. And, you know, they see the difference. They wanted to give us a shot, and they liked what they saw.
Do you know if the customer is this for their PC, or are they moving this card, or do you know any information about that?
I'm not sure. I don't know any information on that. They didn't disclose.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll see. I hope it gets sold. That'd be even more exciting. But you know, ultimately, that's definitely not up to me.
Yeah.
Good for you guys, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I definitely don't. I don't do a ton of grading. Most of the grading I've done is just, I generally grade cards to move them. So I've used, you know, PSA to grade young guns and to flip them or move them or whatever. I have one CGC graded card, and it was a purchase that I recently made. And it's the first time I've actually seen a graded card in a CGC holder. And I will say the clarity in the holder is beyond any other grading company I've seen. It is an amazing. I actually have it right here. The clarity in these holders are insane. And I love the label, everything about it. They're great. They're amazing. Got the little sticker on the back there with the QR code, but yeah, I absolutely love the holders.
It is very
Well, that's
clear.
awesome to hear. Yeah, thank you.
I
We're
think you
very
guys-
proud of it.
Yeah, and you're known for that. When Dave and I were talking before, and I think that I saw on social media that there's some provenance, like there's a video of Wayne signing this card. That would have been a nerve-wracking process, right? This whole thing would have made me so I would have had to take so much Xanax that I probably wouldn't have remembered it after I was done. You guys are partnered with JSA, so is the grading and auto authentication, is that sort of separate parts of the house that gets done in with you guys?
Well, it's not a different part of the process. It's another step in the operations. But yeah, JSA were the ones who ultimately will sign. You know, they signed off on the authentication of the autograph, and then it's the card grading team that signs off on the card condition. So, which is no different than any other card that's submitted through the JSA CGC service.
Mm-hmm.
Are you part of that grading or the authentication of the autograph? Are you part of that, or that's just a separate division within?
It's completely the JSA and their authenticators. I'm involved as far as working with the team and you know, working directly with the team on items, not just cards, but ultimately it's all up to them on the autograph authentication.
Got it.
Is there any circumstance where an in-person auto would affect the grade of a card?
So there absolutely is. You know, one thing about the way we assign a grade to an autograph, you know, what we say is that we're not grading the penmanship, we're not grading anything other than the technical condition of said autograph. So having said that, it's, you know, a placement isn't as important as a smudge, a streak. I've seen where signers, you know, got a thumbprint when it wasn't dry, things of that nature. Those will affect the auto grade. It won't affect the card grade. Where it affects the card grade is when the auto causes damage to the card. I'll give a great example that I always think of right off the top of my head. I had a card signed by Frank Robinson one time at an airport. And the best way I can describe it is he literally carved his name with a ballpoint pen through the card surface.
Say, they used to use ballpoint pens, and that those are pretty dangerous to the surface of cardboard, probably.
Well, it could be, and especially, I know Frank's passed now, and I always like my interactions with him. He's a funny guy, but I don't know if he was doing it intentionally or not, but he literally carved through the card. So effectively destroying the card, right? And so that's a case of now the auto has not only affected the grade of the card, it's ruined the grade of the card. So, but that's how we look at autographs, right? If it runs off the card, if it, anything happens to the auto, it's not deducted on the card grade. That's solely on the auto grade. But when the auto causes damage to the card, that's when that grade is affected.
Gotcha. So back to the card and the condition real quick. When you saw it for the first time in hand, I mean, did you know right away that, oh my gosh, this is a very, very nice copy of a Topps Gretzky rookie? Or were you more of, I got to kind of prove that it isn't a 10? You know what I mean? Kind of that mindset.
Yeah, no, our mindset's different. When I train graders and when I'm grading myself, what I like to say is we start with a 10 and work our way down. And what I mean by that is look at every card. When you're starting off, there's no flaws, right? There's nothing. Let's start at the top. This is a pristine card. Now let's work our way down. Okay, it has a corner touch, whatever it may be. Now we're down to a 10. Now we're down to a 9, wherever it lands. But, I don't. One thing I'm real big on when teaching graders how to grade is I don't want to have any type of bias. I mean, that's in our name, right? We're a third-party independent grading service. We shouldn't have bias. And so I think that plays in as well on the grading itself. And so I want people to start with, okay, this is a flawless card. Now let's look and see if there's anything keeping it from staying flawless. And so to your point, when I saw the card, absolutely. I didn't have to see it, but just a flash of it and say, wow, that looks like an impressive card. Let's look at this a little closer.
Yeah, it is a very, very beautiful card. And I assume that from a corporate standpoint, things like cards like this are very important, right? Because it communicates that if this collector was willing to put this Gretzky in a CGC holder and trust us with that process, that, maybe you have a lesser quality one, but still very meaningful to you, that you might be able to trust us too to do that.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, you're absolutely right. It shows that, we are a trusted third-party grading service, but trusted to grade the highest and biggest items in the industry. This has been already a very exciting summer for us. We've had a number of marquee, what they call blue chip cards that we've been able to authenticate and grade. And but yeah, you're absolutely right. It shows that our hard work is paying off. Our expertise and everything that we've done over these last almost 6 years. That's what you hang your hat on.
Mm-hmm. I think I heard correctly too that this card in particular and a couple of the blue chip ones you talked about, you guys will have on display at Fanatics Fest coming up later this month. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll have a really exciting setup there at Fanatics Fest. And for any listeners who've been before, it's A, it's a crazy show, but B, we have a huge presence there. But this year is going to be really special. We've got three giant cards that we're going to have on display. The Gretzky is one of them.
Yeah, and I think Honus Wagner and a 1952 Mickey Mantle as well.
Yeah, so we have a 1952 Topps Mickey Mantle that is graded as CGC 8. We also have a Honus Wagner T206 restored card that's absolutely gorgeous. And then if those aren't big enough, then we have this Gretzky rookie that's been signed by Gretzky that'll also be on display. So, but what's really cool is that it's an opportunity for people to get up close and see them. They're going to be on display where you can go right up and get photos, take a look at the cards, which is really cool. We haven't announced anything for the national with that, but my hope is it'll be just like Fanatics Fest. We'll have this great display of these cards, and we'll definitely have some other stuff going on as well. But if you're in New York City area for Fanatics Fest and we're thinking about going or on the fence, as a card person, to me, it's worth going just to see these three cards up close and in person.
Oh, for sure. We won't be at the Fanatics Fest because we're in Canada doing some hockey card show related stuff there, but we are definitely going to be at the National, and I would love to see this card. So maybe twist the arm of the collector and say, hey, the hockey hobby needs to see it.
They need to see it at the national.
That's right. I think it definitely is going to happen. I just don't have the final plans on it. But yeah.
Got it.
Okay, I want to kind of transition a little bit just into CGC overall, and I'll start with, and Dave, you can chime in with your perception as well. But just from afar as a hobbyist, we're neither of us are like super big graders, but I buy graded cards, and I have some CGC slabs as well. And it's that your company, the name has changed a little bit, so I'm glad it's settled because it was a little hard to keep track for a while, but mainly known from like a comic book perspective back in the day, and then more into cards in the last few years. Obviously, you have a big presence in Pokemon, in TCG, but I would love to hear more about sort of like your strategy and plan to really continue to grow out the sports side of what you do, because we do follow the grading recaps every month, and you guys have made some pretty big gains, especially this year, as far as the quantity of sports cards that you're grading.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You mentioned Certified Collectibles Group is actually the oldest collectibles grading company and authentication company in the world. We actually started in 1987 with NGC coins, and then over the years and then we've added other services over the years. You mentioned CGC Comics and PMG Paper Money, and now we do video games and VHS, and we have many more on the horizon that'll be coming out soon. But yeah, so in 2019, I believe it was, card grading was started, CGC cards for trading cards specifically. And the plan was for the company to also introduce sports card grading. So originally, when that idea was put together, trading and sports were separate. We had TCG was under the CGC cards, and then CSG was the sports division. To your point, we did change that name because as we developed our operations for cards specifically and the customer interface, one of the things that I kept going back to was we have some hurdles here that's making it overly complicated to submit cards. If you're submitting Pokemon cards, not a problem. If you're submitting just sports, not a problem. But you couldn't just submit things together, and everything was split apart, and it just was not the best customer experience. And so, it's always tough when you make a change, like you change a business name or whatever, change logos and things. It can be difficult, but it really was 100% the right move. And it was a move that we actually spent over a year developing and talking about and doing focus groups and things of that nature before we even got close to pulling that trigger and making that happen. So it was something that was not taken lightly, but in the end, we were correct. It was definitely the right thing to do is to merge everything into one, take away the hurdles, make everything as simple as it can be. And the only division between the two now is not a public facing division. It's between the grading teams. And so your TCG team is still the team that focused solely on trading cards, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic the Gathering, One Piece, all those types. What we call the round corner versus square corner. But that's their expertise. And so, you guys out there as the hobby and people who are doing the grading, you want that. You don't want a trading card grader who only knows Pokemon grading sports. You don't want a sports grader only knows sports who's grading, One Piece. And so we keep that division of expertise because that's to our customers' benefit. But everything else has been streamlined into one simple process.
Gotcha.
As you get bigger and grade more cards, how do you work through those obstacles as far as getting more graders, training them, and keeping like the quality of the grading to the level that you want? Because, every company, as they grow and explode, has their own challenges and obstacles to face. But it seems like that's the one that I'm always wondering from grading companies as a whole, as that continues to grow, how do you find those people and keep your quality levels at the standard you want it?
Yeah, 100%. And for us, it's even a bigger challenge because I'm overseeing operations, not just here in our headquarters in Sarasota, but we have grading teams all over the globe. I was actually, at this time, 2 hours ago, I was on the phone with one of my guys in Shanghai. So we had a card issue we were discussing on some counterfeits. I guess 3 hours ago now. But anyway, I mean, so yeah, so not only am I, watching over and ensuring that our grading teams are consistent and the training is where it needs to be and people are following what we want, following the plan, I've got to do that in multiple countries around the globe. And right now we're grading full time in Munich, our Munich office, our Shanghai office. We're about to start card grading full time at our Hong Kong office. Tokyo will be at the end of this year. We'll be grading on site. So, we've got teams all over the place. And of course in Portland we have Fanatics. And, that's one of the things. It's just like right now, what's going on with our industry is you can't sit back and be reactive to the market or reactive to anything. You've got to be proactive. And, for all of this, I have to lean on the Certified Collectibles Group and their expertise, because what they've done for many, many years is and not stop. And that's how we've been in cards now for going on 6 years. Is we haven't stopped. We haven't stopped hiring. We haven't stopped training. We're training constantly around the clock. I have an education department that oversees our classroom for here in Sarasota for training. And the training department puts together modules that we use across the globe. But it's not just the grader training and onboarding of new graders, which can be a real challenge, but it's operations as well. It kind of boggles my mind to think about, shutting down operations because you've got too much business. And that's just, in our minds, that's not an option, right? It's you got to keep scaling. And the only way to do that is to continually scale. One of our big pushes this year has been adding automation to our process. We've used automation for some time now with robotics, especially in encapsulation and things like that. But we're increasing those. We just started a full-time second shift, which now we're in some areas, some of our encapsulation machines, they nearly run 24 hours a day. And this isn't reactive. This has been going on for, years now. This is just how we have to scale to be ahead of that. And so that's what keeps us competitive. But, you specifically are talking about the onboarding and continual training of the graders. And, that is paramount. One of the things I say is, as I've said before, is that your grading consistency and grading quality, it's only second to your integrity in this business, right? You're known for your integrity and you're known for your consistency in grading. And so we take it really serious on the consistency, on the training. And like I said, I just spent last 2 weeks with our head trainer in our education department. We've been working on a new system for our overseas offices. But yeah, it's a daily, I don't say battle, but it's a daily challenge for me is overseeing that training, overseeing the graders. And that's just beyond continual education. Onboarding is a whole nother process. When I'm looking for graders to hire, I'm looking for, some experience in the hobby. Now, odds are you probably don't have grading experience per se, grading for a grading company. But, there's individuals out there who are buying and selling cards, they're grading cards, and they're making a living on that. So they have that experience of knowing what to look for, and they're trainable. And so that's what I'm looking for, some trainability. Having said that, I've actually had individuals who did not have a lot of card grading experience, but were very passionate about cards, and they've turned out to be amazing graders. So it's finding that passion. I think the passion's the biggest thing, because this is not a job that I kind of like cards, I might give that a shot. No, you'll hate it. You'll absolutely hate it. You'll quit 100%. I've seen it before. Yeah. It's truly a job you've got to be very passionate about, because you're spending 8+ hours and sometimes in not very favorable conditions grading someone else's cards. And so it's very monotonous and tedious, but man, when you love cards, it's an awesome thing to do.
Oh yeah, we're like that too. Like we'll get we're a submission center for an auction house, and people send their cards to be auctioned, and we're like kids in a candy store every time a tag. Look at this, it's like
right.
Yeah, I could see myself seeing that same way. So let's say you hired Dave or I to be a grader. What would the expectation be, and how long would it take us to be proficient where you were confident that we would do a good job and represent you guys well?
Yeah. So the very beginning, you come in for an interview for a job. One of the first things I'm going to do is put you in a classroom and let you take a grading assessment test. We're going to see where you're at. And, I'm not looking for your grade versus mine. I'm looking for patterns of trainability, patterns of knowledge that you have or don't have. And that tells me everything I need to know. You're the patterns of your grading tell me more about how you grade than anything I need. And if you're trainable, an example of that would be if you come in and you're consistently off hard a grade or half a grade, whatever, that's very trainable. You're too tight. If you're consistently too tight, I can train that. Or you're specifically tight on a certain area, on corners or whatever it may be. That's trainable. If you're all over the map with no consistency, that's harder to train.
Yeah,
definitely harder to train. So I'm looking for those patterns. So let's say you guys come in, you knock out the test like nobody else, and we're on to the next phase. So once you're onboarded, you're going to go through several weeks of training. The first week of training is going to be basically learning about our system, learning about the verification of cards, which our verification EDM team, they do the identification of cards and the research of cards. And what we found is spending time in that department with graders strengthens a grader's ability to identify cards that maybe they're not familiar with. Mm-hmm. And so that's a nice little thing that we've learned over the years. But once that's done, then it's into the grading classroom. And so normally a grading for sports, a grading classroom session looks like it's usually 1 to 2 weeks. And that's 8 hours a day in the classroom.
Wow.
And it's really intense because it's I guess it's more scientific than most people think. I know I've had several individuals come in and go, wow, this was like a college level class in here. And yeah, this is the real deal, man. This isn't, we're not screwing around here. But, there's a lot of technical stuff to learn. But yeah, so once that's done and you've taken the proficiency test and you guys have shown that the classroom stuck, then it's on to where we'll go. You'll go to the production floor and you'll work with another senior grader. And so you can spend several months in that position where you are grading live, but you're essentially flowing with the senior grader with you. And so it's a hands-on, it's live interaction between these two graders. There's not a delay of, you go grade those 50 cards. I'll go check them in a day or two and let you know how you did. No, this is live feedback. This is live on the floor. And so then after that period, generally, it's going to take a month or two. And then through that process, we're doing assessment tests to see where we're at, what we're learning, and we're tracking their progression as they're grading in our system of what they're grading, how's it looking, the patterns, things of that nature. And so at that point, once that final assessment is done and passed the proficiency test, then it's off to live grading. But it's not over then though. Then every grader still goes through training that we do pretty much on a weekly basis of some type of training, whether that's a specific order they're given that the training department will go over and compile stats for each grader or however that looks. Sometimes it's simply, hey guys, we got an hour classroom session today. We're going to talk about this counterfeit we found last week or whatever it may be. Yeah. So there's a lot of different ways, but it's almost every day that we're either discussing training and grade quality, or it's a weekly where we're in a classroom talking.
With the introduction and kind of the more, I don't know, people kind of look more at AI. How does AI affect that? What do you look at using AI in the future, or how does that kind of fit into the whole grading process? Because I think, most people, including myself, I always look at, you talk about consistency in grading and things. So how do you incorporate that, if at all, into the processes of the future?
Yeah. So, real, actual, live today AI is a great assist for consistency. AI meaning complete computer grading of a card with no human interaction. We're not there. And I say we, not our company. I'm talking we as in
everybody.
Yeah, the technology.
Do you think you'll ever be there? Or do you think
eventually,
a human being?
Eventually, it's absolutely possible. We working with AI companies and that process. That's not the technology that's there, and that's not what anybody's really trying to do either. Where AI really shines is the assistance. It's a co-pilot. If AI is perfect for attribution, meaning identifying cards. So you've seen the apps where you can take a picture of a card. Fantastic. And for grading, it's awesome because this helps speed up the process of a verifier. When a customer sends in their cards and we pull up their list of cards, it's got to be checked because the customer could be wrong. The customer could just put in anything. And so with the assistance of AI doing that, helping with that attribution, man, it's amazing. On the grading side, yeah, there's things that it definitely can assist with and help with. Some of the difficulties is just, surface is one of them. But we're talking about measurement of centering. We're talking about corner quality, even edges. Those are things that AI can assist with and help a grader to not only be faster, but really more importantly, more consistent. And that's really the where it shines, because an AI engine is also, not only is it going to assist with that grade, but it's when the grader says, no, actually that's not a 6, it's a 7, that engine is learning. So it's being taught, okay, grader just told me it's actually a 7.
Human feedback loop, right? So it's always learning and always building upon its knowledge base there.
Right. Yep. So, in real world applications today, AI and grading, it's great. It really is great. It's going to continue to develop. It's one of the things we're continuing to develop. Is it going to get fully automated in our lifetime? It could. I don't see that happening real soon, but definitely could happen eventually.
You mentioned that you guys have offices basically all over the world, in Europe, in Asia. Would Dave and I, as two Americans, would we be surprised how global the hobby is getting?
I'm going to say, by you asking that question, you'll be blown away by it. Because the first time that I've been to all those different markets, I was absolutely just, holy cow, I've been living in a closet. Because,
Really?
we kind of think that cards are very U.S. centric, and then there's collectors around the world, but this is our thing and we're the bulk of it. Man, I tell you what, that is not the case. Europe is very robust. Their card shows are amazing, but I'll tell you, Asia, obviously huge markets, but mainland China is absolutely insane. You would seriously have to question things about when you see the size of that market. It's amazing that all across the globe that these very robust, very healthy card markets are just continuing to grow. And it's a little humbling at first because like I said, I was under assumption of, cards is kind of our thing. A little bit of Europe, Britain, England kind of started cards with us, but this is kind of our thing, right? It's a U.S. thing. That's not the case. Cards are so popular around the world, and I love to see it. I love to go to a new country and instantly you're taken in, at a card show, and it's just like home.
Do you see those foreign markets, kind of similar here, where like sports cards are at a certain percent comparative to Pokemon and those aspects? Is it relatively the same when you say these markets are exploding? You're talking more like TCG.
Well, I am talking about both, because I see the sports card market exploding, really equally in other markets. And I think the percentages are pretty close as well. Pokemon is it's the number one thing on the planet, no question. Mm-hmm. That's driving all the card markets. But you look at the percentage of Pokemon versus, or any TCG versus sports in other countries, you kind of get that same balance. It's the kind of similar as it is here as well. And then the growth of the sports market next to the trading card market, I think that is very similar to here as well.
And along the lines of growth, and we talked about scale a little bit ago, I want to circle back to that for a second, because when I put myself in your shoes, there's a lot of companies that would say, well, you'd be at your annual strategic planning meetings. You're like, we want to grow 20% this year. Andy, come up with a plan for us to grow 20%. It seems like in the grading space, it's like, well, we got double the submissions this month. What are we going to do about
it? Well, yes and no, right? I mean, that's kind of goes back to being proactive, not reactive. So as far as, getting more submissions than we could ever dream of, that's just part of our operations, and we'll always be scaling to be ahead of that demand. But the other side of it is, we also don't want to stop growing. We're not growing internationally just because the U.S. market's gotten so big and, we can't take on more of that or something like that. But, this has been our plan all along, is to just continue to growth across the globe. And, I mentioned, NGC coins and PMG paper money. they've been grading in different locations, like our Shanghai office. They've been there for, I think, almost 12 years. And so
Wow.
they've been in these
Okay.
in Hong Kong, I think, about 10 years. And then in Europe. So they were there before, we in the card division got there. But, it's something where we've seen these collectibles markets across the globe, and all types of collectibles just continue to grow over the last 30 years. And so that's always been our plan, is to continue to grow globally. So we'll always continue to expand across the globe, and expand in the U.S. We have a partnership with Fanatics Collect in Portland, so we have a grading facility there in Portland, and so things like that will continue to grow those types of businesses along with across the globe.
Mm-hmm. You've been doing this a long time. You've been in the hobby industry a long time. You go back 10 years ago, could you have even imagined it would be where it is today?
It's interesting you asked that with that time frame, because it's about 10 years ago when I personally thought that things were changing rapidly. Because I'll never forget, in 2017, I was with a grading company, and the backlog had almost reached a year. And I remember thinking to myself, man, if this continues, this is a shift in the industry. Like, something's happening.
Yeah.
Had no idea, obviously, exactly what was happening. And then nobody knew, COVID was going to happen. But I do remember thinking, going into that national, if this continues, there's something else at play here. Is the market finally, hitting the big time? As I always say, is cards finally getting mainstream? And so the reason why I bring that up is because I was from that point forward, I got really in tune to what was going on, mm-hmm. in respect to, like, the industry blowing up. And so I watched that until 2020 and COVID hit. And a lot of people say, well, it's COVID that really blew up the market, but I really, really believe it was on its way to something before COVID. COVID was just the perfect storm for the card market. People were at home. People still had some money. And so it was almost like people kind of said, well, I don't know what I'm going to do today. Let's go through the garage and find some stuff, right? Or throw some stuff on eBay or whatever. But the card market was very robust already by that point. And so, I think it's just a perfect storm.
And it makes the last year even more impressive, because a lot of us thought, well, when you go back to the boom a few years ago, is it because of the pandemic? Is that what the reason of it? And then now, I mean, there's no sort of underlying thing like that. It's just I think you put it best, that it's like the hobby's gone mainstream. Now we have Tom Brady opening up card shops, and it's cool. I mean, hey, we were the nerds our whole lives, and now all of a sudden we're cool.
100%. And I think you see that the most with athletes, right? I mean, I remember chasing autographs, and this wasn't long ago. This was in my adult life, chasing autographs. And it's like, you're a grown ass man. Why are you out here trying to chase these kids playing ball? I mean, it really was that way. I mean, to the core of us who were out there, we got it. But like, you could see, people with their kids disgusted about it. But now if you're a player, if you're an athlete, it's cool to collect cards. It's cool to talk about trading cards in the dugout. So yeah, I think that's that mainstream thing hitting. But you're right. That's kind of what I was alluding to, is that this wasn't a COVID bubble. We got out of COVID and all that, and the market just continues to grow. And I think that is a result of it. It wasn't a COVID bubble. This was already brewing before that. And I think that kind of backs that up, the fact that here we are still expanding and still growing.
Okay, so for a collector who's never tried using CGC for grading, how would you explain your competitive differentiators? What makes you guys unique? Why should we give you a shot?
Well, one of the cool things about us is accessibility, right? It's affordability and accessibility. We're easy to submit cards directly to us. There are a lot of dealers who work as an aggregate, who take in submissions, do group subs, and which is great. I know that's great for a lot of people who maybe can't submit themselves, or for whatever reason. But you can submit to us yourself directly, very easy, through our website. Our price points, we are, I think you can go and see where we stand on pricing. Those things are appealing. The service, I mean, we're still taking your cards. We're not shutting down, operations. All those things are appealing, but that's not the sole reasons why you submit to us. The biggest thing is the expertise. It really is one of the biggest things, because if you don't know who's grading your prized possessions, I mean, that's, to me, that would make me nervous. And that's one of the things that I've always been a big proponent of is being transparent, is pulling back. We used to always say about the National, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. But it was always kind of true. It's like, what goes on back there in the grading room? Why is it so mysterious? In reality, it wasn't mysterious. It's insurance purposes. We're keeping people out because these aren't our cards, and sometimes there's millions of dollars in cards. But the public perception is, well, you're hiding something. You got everything. I don't know any graders and things, and so that's always set. It never sat right with me, because it isn't a big secret. It's security. So that's one of the things that we've done as a company, is kind of pull that curtain back. But I always say, name a grading expertise at any other grading company. You don't know who the people are behind the curtain. And so I think that's one of the big things with us is knowing the expertise that we have and our transparency. We're not hiding anything with our services. And, our consistency, that's one thing that people talk about with our grading consistency. We're very proud of that, along with the holder and our quality overall. But, it is the expertise and the time that we put into research cards that other companies won't even, stop down to research. And I think that the Gretzky rookie that we're talking about today, and some of these other marquee cards that we'll be talking about here in the future, these are a testament to that, to why people want to use us. They see that. They see those things. We're not just say, hey, just submit to us, trust us, it's okay. No, we want to be out there. We want to share our knowledge, because that's one of the things, when I tell these classrooms of graders that we're training is, I'm not going to be here forever. And, I didn't go to a classroom or I wasn't taught by anybody in card grading. I spent my entire life, the passion that I have, teaching myself. But at the same time, I don't want that knowledge to die with me either. And so I think it's important not only to share that knowledge with my grading teams, but also with the public as well, because, an informed and educated consumer just makes a better hobby for all of us. It really does. And, there's times when people are taken advantage of, whether it's online or whatever, through cards. And, the more that you know about cards, the easier it is to protect yourself. And so, all these things put together make us a grading company that stands alone.
Mm-hmm.
With PSA and their bulk submissions going on pause, have you seen more cards being graded or coming in with you because of that, or you preparing for that, or what have you seen with that?
Yeah, we've seen a huge influx in cards in the last several months. I'm sure some of that's attributed to what they're doing. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, again, it's great to be in a position where you're not caught by surprise. That way, when you can look at the numbers and say, damn, that's even more than we thought, but with a smile on your face, because that's exciting. We're ready for that. Whereas, getting caught, I guess, with your pants down per se, it's a lot different when, holy crap, it's a lot more than we thought. Right. But yeah, no, I mean, that's what we do. I have teams of people that, again, I'm the guy on the camera, but I can't take credit for a lot of these things. I have teams of people who this operations is their life, and they understand how this, not only this industry works, but how operations work. And so, we're scaling constantly. And so it's nice it's just nice to see the numbers come in and go, wow, that's more than we thought. Yeah, let's go,
Okay, so at the very beginning of our conversation, we'll kind of wrap up a little bit on your personal hobby side. You said you do collect a little bit of hockey pre-war. What are you into? Like the C56 set, or the like that pre-war, like the first three sets, or are you into the gum era or confectionery era? What do you collect?
Yeah, I do like some of the gum cards. The Ice Kings, I love the Ice Kings. I think those are cool. All the T cards, or the C cards rather, in hockey. But the tobacco issues I really like. I've gotten more esoteric, I think, with my hockey pre-war. Like, I like things like real photo postcards and real obscure
there's a lot
stuff.
of that.
Yeah, there is. It's awesome. There's really cool stuff. I got in a while back, found some really cool stuff attributed to a player of the Trail Smoke Eaters team from, was it 39, where they won the World Hockey Championship. And one of their goalies was actually shot down and killed by the Nazis in World War II. And he was wearing his Smoke Eaters jersey when he was a fighter pilot. But anyway, it's some really cool stories. But I've got some photos from there when they're in Switzerland in '39 and the playing in the championship, and like that stuff's really cool to me. So it's interesting because pre-war baseball is my big thing, and for decades, I've collected the T206s and things like that, and you do it long enough, you get a little bored, right? I mean, you start branching out to try to broaden your horizons in collecting, right? And so I went into the 19th century with baseball and got into photos and things like that. But yeah, hockey is one of those things where, man, there's all kinds of cool stuff out there that's around cards that not necessarily are cards. And I kind of found myself going down that more of a oddball road with hockey.
Do you have a team you root for or follow?
I don't really have a favorite team. I spent a lot of time in many years in Dallas, and I loved watching the Stars for many years. I still watch the Stars, but I really don't. I don't have a favorite team, really. I just enjoy watching the game because I really, when I was in Texas, I really enjoyed watching minor league hockey. I was fortunate enough to have some good teams close by. Excuse me, some good teams close by, and so got to see a lot of minor league hockey. And that's fun.
Is there any modern cards you collect, Andy, or mostly just vintage stuff?
I don't do a lot of modern. Something cool or funky comes out that's new or something. I will buy modern stuff, but it's hard to get excited. Now I do a lot of in-person autographs, so I will buy modern cards for autographs for sure and collect those. But I just I always like seeing the new cards when they come out. I just don't actively collect the new stuff.
Dave still doesn't believe that cards existed prior to 2020. So we're working with him on that.
I'm surprised cards past 1969 still exist. So, I mean, and more modern than that. So.
Yeah, I similar to you in the 80s, I was big into baseball and collecting baseball cards. And then, of course, took the hiatus like most people did, and then came back, during the COVID era. And now that's basically has taken over my entire life is this hobby. But yeah, I am really trying to grasp and learn more about vintage cards, and it's appealing, but it's like, I feel like if I dip my toe in it, then I'm just going to get like sucked all the way in, and there's no coming back. And so I'm very hesitant of the dipping my toes into that water.
Well, I'll tell you, especially like pre-war baseball, as much as I love it to this day, I can't imagine starting out collecting it now. The prices of things it's tough.
Yeah,
it's expensive.
When I started out, I never forget, I had a rule. I would buy any T206 under $10 unless it was, missing a portion or whatever. But I had no problem buying nice commons with no creases for $20 or less, at shows and just going through. And of course that was fun. Now, all right, I can build a set. I can do, and it's not that way anymore. So it's, new stuff, obviously you can prices have gone up on that as well, but you can get into it. Getting into the vintage, it can be cost prohibitive.
Mm-hmm.
I think
the hobby as well.
I like vintager players with modern cards.
He's into ultra modern cards with like the old timers.
Yeah, the retired Hall of Fame guys. That's kind of my jam.
So that's Dave for you. Well, congratulations on getting the opportunity to grade and put this really iconic card in your holder. We probably didn't show it enough. Got to show it again.
Of course.
It is, and they did pick a great placement on the auto too. So I guess congratulations to the collector there. And it was really interesting to learn more about your past in the hobby, kind of your approach to grading. It's obviously, it's omnipresent in the hobby, the notion of grading. And I think it is good for people to understand, to, like you said, peek behind the curtain a little bit and to get a better understanding of kind of what the process is, what some of the challenges you guys deal with, and so on and so forth. So hopefully we'll be able to talk to you again soon, but want to thank you for your time, Andy.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me, and I look forward to talking again.
Want to thank Andy and the CGC team for making that possible again. Oh boy. Dave and Lou, you can chime in too, because a lot of these are just general questions. I still can't get over the terror I would feel owning one of the 4 grails of grails in this hobby and saying, I think I'm gonna crack this. And I don't crack a lot of cards, but I've definitely seen Phil do it. I've seen you punch yourself in the downstairs trying to do it, and it doesn't inspire a lot of confidence, if I have to be honest about the whole thing. But the risks involved in doing this are, in my mind, are just astronomical. And so now that the card exists, and we showed it a few times in the CGC holder with the 10 grade, the 10 auto grade, I don't know, worth the risk?
I mean, from what we've been seeing of those sales, those in-person auto sales, I mean, I guess so. I'm with you though. I'm like, I've cracked.
You shake so bad opening a tin of the cup. If you were cracking one of those, you would be convulsing. It wouldn't even be shaking.
That's what I'm saying. Like I can crack a card when I take my time, I can crack a card in less than a minute. And what's the over under? It took them like 20 minutes to crack that card. I mean, you must have gone so slow and so careful and taken every precaution just to make sure your screwdriver didn't go right into the card or whatever. I mean, that is, I couldn't have done it. There's no way I could have done it. I would have been way too nervous. I would have had major shakes.
Probably the greatest hobby moment of all time, I don't think you could ever top this, would have been Phil cracking that card live.
Oh my gosh. Like putting a spike on it and like,
we would have spent all our money promoting it. Like the loud collector Phil's slab cracking service will crack a Gretzky rookie PSA 10 live on YouTube. And
got a graded hockey card trapped in a slab that's not quite right? Trust Phil's slab cracking service, the most trusted name in the hobby.
Okay, well, this isn't going well.
Phil's slab cracking service, trusted by collectors everywhere.
Yeah?
I wonder if the person who cracked it, I'm assuming the person who did this, I wonder if they took video of it and have that somewhere. That video would go viral. Or if could you imagine doing that like on an Instagram live or something? I'm about to crack a PSA 10 tops rookie of Wayne Gretzky.
I wonder if they did. That'd be crazy to know.
Yeah.
I would probably, I'll never be in that position of having that card and having to worry about it, but I would probably video it, and good,
you'd have to,
or bad, yes.
But if you think about like all the risks involved, there's damaging the card while you're cracking it. Mm-hmm. Then you have to hold the card. Then you have to expose the raw card for Wayne to sign it. And what if he like sneezes on it or something to damage a corner, something like that? Then you have
DNA.
Then you have to get it to SGC, and not only did they have to agree that no damage occurred in that process, but that the card was a 10 to begin with. Like, what if they thought, no, this was never a 10, this is like an 8.5? Right. That would have been like disastrous financially. And I know some people will say, and I think a degree they might be right, well, whoever did this probably has like boatloads of money.
Yeah.
But if you care about the hobby, no matter how much money you have, I mean, this is one of the most 4 important cards in all of all of the hobby. And you're, number one, you're risking damaging it, and then you're altering it in a way that I would guess is very controversial. And like I can guarantee you, Phil probably will lose his mind over, one of the 4 10s being probably desecrated, because in his mind, and other people probably think it's really cool. So do you think it's worth more or less now as a playing card in a PSA 10 versus a CGC 10 with the auto and the auto 10 grade?
From what I have seen of these cards going for this and where it's all speculation, I could see this being the highest sale of a hockey card ever if this goes for auction.
Okay,
so
jump
to
in
pass
real quick.
the PSA 10 O-Pee-Chee rookie card, I could see it going for more than that. What was it, like 2.5 million or 2.2 million or something like that?
I think like 3.5, something like that. 4.
Oh,
I don't
3.5.
know.
I just
Sorry, hey, before you get too deep into it, I've seen maybe a third of the video. Just give me a yes or no answer. We can talk about it later. Did Andy give you any background story from the guy that wanted to do it? Like why he decided
No,
to do
and I
this?
mean you could tell.
No.
He might have known more than he shared, but it's not probably his story to tell
Okay.
or his place. And
Yeah,
we
sure.
kind of tried to zero in on the CGC side of
Yeah.
it. But
Well, I want to talk to this guy.
Yeah,
Right,
'cause-
right or wrong, no matter what anybody says, I just want to know the story behind it. It's a 10, and then
right.
how that transpired. But I
Because
digress.
I asked Andy if the owner of the card, if this was going into their PC or if this was going to be sold, and he alluded that he didn't know the answer to that. So it would be just for the sake of to see what happens. I would love this thing to hit the open market just to see what it pulls, because it's such a unique having a graded 10 copy with an in-person auto. And if you see the card, and you saw it if you're watching the interview, usually Wayne Gretzky signs his name like over his legs, and so you can't even see half the auto. But obviously the owner of the card probably gave Wayne some instruction of how they wanted it to sign. So Wayne signed it on the white part, kind of going up so that you can see the autograph perfectly. And so it looks really nice. As far as in-person autos on a Wayne Gretzky card, it's the nicest one I've seen. It's the nicest auto I've seen. Usually those are very rushed, and you're like, that doesn't even look like a Wayne Gretzky auto. So it looked really nice, very well done. The CGC holder is really nice. It would be, I just want to see it. I want to know what it goes
well,
for.
it might be at the National, Louis, he was saying, so we could
Okay.
maybe see it in person.
I'm going to try to find it right now.
I just had all these crazy thoughts in my head. Like I was envisioning, like everything that could have gone wrong. Like Wayne is at the table and he starts to sign, and somebody comes in the room and the door hits him in the back and goes forward, and he's just like a pen streak across the card. It's like, that's a lot of pressure on Wayne.
Do you think Wayne knew? Do you think he
100%. Yeah, because
the
if you go to the CGC's Instagram, they have a picture of him signing, or a video of him signing it.
Okay.
And so I think he had to. You would have had to have gotten his attention to get it done, and then maybe explain the significance of
You think
it.
they put like police tape around him while he was signing or something to keep it
I don't know.
back?
Yeah, again, I would be, like I said, when talking to Andy, I would have had to take so much Xanax, I would have never remembered. I would have had to videotape it so I could have any recollection of the event ever happening. Okay, I'm kind of curious just on, and there's no right or wrong answer. It's entirely subjective. But for each of you guys, what would you do? Would you like the card? Do you like the card better with the IP auto, or do you think it should have been left in its al natural state? Start with you, Dave.
I mean, I'm more of a leave it. It's not meant to have an auto. So that's kind of the fence that I land on, or the side of the fence I land on. So, but at the same time, you look at it and the care that it was done in, and it does look pretty nice. Like I said, it's the nicest looking in-person auto on a Gretzky rookie card I've ever seen. So,
yeah,
I mean, kudos to I just the gonads to take that risk is insane to me. So, it seems like it's going to pay off in that way, but crazy. I
about you, Louis?
would not have taken that risk. There's no way. No way.
If I had a 10 and I even had an opportunity to sit down with Wayne and have him sign it, and I'm going to keep it, I think it's super cool. I really want to
the experience part of it, I'm glad you brought that up. Even that would be cool to be able to, hopefully you get a half hour with him to let him see the card, talk about it. that. So you'd have to weigh that into it as well. But I'd be so terrified. I'd be like, Wayne, don't fuck this up. You have
Exactly.
to edit that out.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's see. But you know what? It's hard for any of us to say, because the day any of us have a 10 and then have that opportunity, do you weigh out? There's only, what'd you say, 4 10s, and now there's
Well, now there's 3. Yeah, so I mean,
there's
that
3.
is kind of a cool thing to we lost
People.
25% of the grails,
Yep,
right?
you took it right out of my mouth. So then now there's 3, and then 1 auto. I don't know. I don't think. I mean, we can spitball this all day long. Opinions. I think it's cool. I don't know if I do it. I don't know. I just want to hear the story. You guys, I can't answer this.
Okay, last question on this, then we'll move on. What's the minimum you would sell it for? Which is kind of like getting into, like, what do you really think it's worth? So if you had this card in your possession and you had 3 people that wanted to buy it, what would you like the minimum amount you'd consider?
Do you know what the last sale of a PSA 10 Topps rookie was?
I think this card sold for 1.2 million. Was the
Okay.
last time it sold.
I mean,
And that was at the stay-at-home time.
I
So-
feel like you couldn't let it go for more than 2 million. That's just kind of the number that's in my head.
Yeah, I'm thinking 2.5 was the.
2.5.
I mean, we're just kind of guessing here, but
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
fun to.
Do you think if the Topps rookie in the PSA holder and this one went to auction at the exact same time and ended on the same day, you think the auto version pulls more or the PSA 10
Probably.
version?
Well, okay, and maybe another little bit of context. So the high sale for an O-Pee-Chee was 3.75 million in March of 2021. So would you really sell it for half of the O-Pee-Chee, the high sale of an O-Pee-Chee? I don't know. I mean, maybe we're undershooting the value here. Maybe it's a $5 million card.
That's what I was just gonna say. I just saw that price, and I'm like, I think if I would have told you, Dave, you probably would have changed it. But
Yeah.
I'm in the 4s or more.
Okay. I wish we had that problem.
Yeah.
That would be great.
I wish I could really decide how much I wanted for it.
I'm really hoping that sometime this year it does hit the market, just because it would be really fascinating to just see what happened. Yeah.
Well, when you look at a 1979 Gretzky PSA 10, it's been now a long time since one has sold publicly. We have to state that caveat where it's been 3-4 years, something like, or 5 years. I don't know. I mean, it's been a long time since one of these has changed hands. So I'm trying to. Looks like August 28th, 2022
For the top.
was this exact card that got autographed.
Oh, okay.
And you could tell by you just look up the cert number and it no longer exists on it. So what that's coming up on for 6 years.
You can do it. You can do it. It's not a matter.
I wonder if
4 years.
I wonder if when the buyer bought it, if they've always kind of had this idea to do this, or if it just kind of came to them all at once and it would be great to interview the buyer or the
we got to
owner
work
of
on
this
that.
card. That would be amazing. Just that, man, that would be great to pick their brain and find out. And then to answer some of these questions, like, how did you crack it? Did you crack it yourself? Did it take 25 minutes? Like what happened? So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Well, let us know in the chat. Like, would you have done this had you owned this card? Is it too risky? And what do you think it's worth? Curious on other people's opinions.
yeah.
Moving on. We also had the opportunity in the last few days to catch up with Grant Paterson from GP Sports. He's been gallivanting and frolicking around the globe on various hobby adventures, from Spain to Montreal to Columbus, Ohio. And he'll actually be with us in Halifax this weekend, too. He had a lot to say about the state of the hobby and protecting yourself from some of the more recent threats and scams and thievery that's happening at the card show circuit all around places. So we hope you enjoy our conversation with Grant. Pleased to welcome back Grant Paterson to the Gong Show podcast. Hey, Grant, how are you?
Hey, Josh. Good. How's everything?
It's been doing good. It's been a while since we've caught up. Let's go back like a month or so ago. Now, you took some time off finally, decided to enjoy life a little bit, and you went to Europe. What's your review of Spain?
Very good. It was a lot of fun, much needed sort of time off, and I realized that we missed the Grand Prix in Barcelona by 1 week, so I was getting some hate from my buddies.
Okay.
If we booked 1 week after, that would have been pretty crazy, but no, I can't complain. It was an amazing time.
Did you do any hobby activities while you were there, or did you say I just need to unplug a little bit from everything and be a human being, or what was your time there like hobby wise?
You know what? I debated bringing a few packs of cards to try to write off some stuff on the business, but I didn't. I decided wasn't going to be that trip. I did try to find a shop there, but it was like an hour plus drive, and they weren't going to have hockey. I knew it, so
it'd be soccer, football, right? With anything there. Do you have any idea like how big the hobby is in Europe? Like, have you been meetings with Upper Deck or anything like that? Seems small but growing? Would that be a good way to put it?
Yeah, for like hockey, I think like it's huge in like obviously like Czech Republic and like Sweden, Finland, those type of countries. I don't think so as much in like Spain, and they're just predominantly football and the other sports. But from the collector base, I think it's like around the world now. I think it's a big audience, and like if you walk down and look at like the different collectibles, I think everyone's now sort of in tune with cards, and they'll know at least of it.
I think there's a number of people that participate in the hobby from a business sense on a smaller or bigger scale, and some do it part-time or like as a side job kind of thing. Or other people are like you are full-time. And I know this from my own experience and some of the stuff we do. I think one of the kind of life balance challenges in this hobby is there's no like open and close. It's 24 hours a day. And so I think forcing yourself to leave every now and again is a good thing.
Yeah, exactly. That's like before that vacation, I hadn't gone on a vacation in, I don't even know, like 10 years. Like it was just like one day after the other. It always feels like, taking a day off, it just, as like an owner of a company, it's just like you can't do it, but you got to make time for it. It's important and much needed.
And then you came back and had was it the Montreal Expo basically right out, or was it right before or after your vacation?
Yeah, Montreal Expo just after. And that was a good show. That's always, again, one of our best ones because we have so many customers and a big connection base there. Always have a lot of fun there. That was probably actually our craziest Montreal trip of all time because we had a collection from a collector that we met in Toronto. And that was actually the collector that we did the big Crosby, the $80,000 Shield deal. So he had more of his collection that he was looking to move. And we connected obviously at Toronto, and then we went and saw him in Kingston on our way up to Montreal. And then we proceeded to see a few other collectors. It was a really good weekend.
I think there's a good reminder or lesson in that experience as well, because for anyone that doesn't remember the story or maybe just tuning in, a guy at the very end of the Spring Expo, I believe, right, walks up to your booth and has 2 Crosby Shield cards. You, like any sort of negotiation on the buying side, you typically start, well, what do you hope to get from these cards? I think he gave you a way too low number, something indicative of that he didn't really understand what the value was. And where some people might, with a short-term view or perspective, might have said, sure, throw the money at him and run. But I think he actually did a really cool and ethical thing, is he said, hold on, these cards are worth a lot more than what you're looking for, and you paid him out. But now, of course, the result of that is people trust you.
Yeah.
Now, and it sounds like it turned into a bigger deal. And so, if you treat people right and play the long game, I think you're better off than maybe taking a very short-term win like that, potentially at somebody's expense.
Yeah, definitely. That's why, like in the video, I worded it like you took us to the best booth possible, because he didn't know what he had. And it was sort of me informing him of how valuable they've become and what he actually had on his hands. So it was a really cool experience. We didn't get to capture that part of the video because when he first walked up, he didn't realize how valuable these cards were. So he said, I don't want to be on camera, like not expecting like anything crazy out of it. And then obviously I told him what they were worth. And he's like, by all means, you know, start recording, do whatever you want. It was really cool to see. So then obviously we took care of the remainder of his collection as well. And he had a lot of really, really nice stuff. Like that's
Nice.
the most fun part about me is like you're undiscovering these cards that have been hidden away for 15 years. Like nobody knows where those shields were. And then that's the best part about it.
You keeping any of them for yourself, or was it a pure business deal?
The Crosby's for sure keep them for myself, but then the remainder of his collection was mostly like liquid, like rookie stuff. Like he had McKinnon RPAs and stuff from the 13-14 era, which is not really what I collect. So most of those will be on our show inventory or our repacks.
Nice. So. And then something happened in Montreal that wasn't great. We want to get into that. Well, you can smile about it now, so I suppose that's a good thing.
Yeah. Now I can. It's a few months post mistake, but yeah, that was actually like my biggest mistake as a vendor. Never deal Pokemon. We have a manual in store who always is our Pokemon expert and knows it like the back of his hand. I am unfamiliar with it, so just not thinking. On the Saturday of the show, 3 gentlemen walked up. They had their Pokemon cards and they wanted to trade towards hockey cards and sell. And my thinking was like, okay, I know Pokemon, like high-end Pokemon is very, very liquid. Like it's a 90% to 95% cash out rate. So these guys were okay with 85%, or I think it was like 83%. So I was like, you know what? I never do this, but it's been a bit of a slower Saturday. I'm going to take a stab at it. And I took a chance on these slabs and should have known better. Didn't ask like anyone. I had like literally like my closest friends that know Pokemon like the back of their hand, like 2 boosts down, didn't take them to there. Paid out these guys in cash, and then next thing you know, these guys are running out the building, and obviously fake slabs. And I did like a video about it where I wasn't even familiar with these blacklight, which is like a scan that you can scan the top of the PSA slab, and you can see if it's completely authentic. Because the thing that got me is obviously I knew to check and try to do some due diligence on it, but when I scanned the slab, it took me to the PSA website, so they went like pretty far into like making sure that this, you know, scam or tricking somebody was pretty thought out, because it took me to the website. It showed me the cert number. The only thing that you could tell, like for actual Pokemon dealers knew, the card was a little off, and then there was like numbering on the slab that was like a different font. But as someone who like deals more in like high-end hockey and not as much graded, it's not even a concern really when you're looking at a cup card or something like that. You know, I didn't even think about like the slab authenticity, and so that's where I made the mistake.
Well, I think there's a few things to unpack here, and it's funny, we were just talking about this on the last show, that first of all, when you get in, there's something about human nature when we get into a big deal where maybe it's our adrenaline starts pumping, and it kind of makes you do stupid things at times, and we've all been victim of it. I showed it that when we talked about it, I bought 2 fake Jordan autos at one point. And the importance, like you talked about, of having that second opinion in a big deal, that person that isn't emotionally invested into it, where the adrenaline isn't pumping, that is maybe thinking more clearly at that time to be able to say, hey, does this look legit? And, you know, that is willing enough to kind of put the brakes on for you if they think that, you know, hey, slow down a little bit, let's investigate this a little bit more. And I can't remember the total but this was not a small transaction either, right? It was like 5-figure kind of deal, right?
Yeah, 12,000. 12,000 was our full payout, and I think it was like 13.8 in like value. So yeah, we were at 12,000. That was like hard because I felt bad also for Steve. It's just like obviously put me in a really bad mood. I didn't want to set up on Sunday just because like those are things as a vendor, like I should not be making those mistakes. I'm more like concerned as someone who walks the show floor or collectors who are new into it. You know, that's like very concerning, especially in the Pokemon space that's out there. And because if we bought those cards and didn't then go ask and double check them and we put them out, like I'm sure there's another person who would have walked by and maybe not known as well. So like that's the craziest part for me, is just making aware of collectors like that this is out there, and be very careful when you're dealing with these Pokemon cards.
Does it surprise you at points, because it does this for me too, like my kid's into Pokemon a little bit, and it's like you can know so much, like you probably know almost everything about hockey cards, and then somebody like brings in a binder of soccer cards or Pokemon, and it's like Chinese. It's like I don't know what this is.
I had the exact same thing happen this week in Ohio. It's just like my knowledge of hockey, whether it be a $5 card all the way up to the biggest of biggest cards in hockey, it's just I know it so well. It's what I study. It's what I deal in every single day. And then even Ohio, we had like this crazy 1-of-1 Yamal card come by their booth, and it's just like a missed opportunity where we could have had that card, and it ended up selling for a much bigger number the same day. Where it's like, you just use your friends and the contacts that you have, but at the end of the day, it's hard to know multiple sports, and I've always said, like I want to be like knowledgeable and the best I can be at one specific thing, and that's the thing I want to run with. That's why we focus so much on hockey breaks, and everything around our company is pretty much focused on hockey, is because I want to do the best I can for that one avenue and that one lane. So it's funny when you go into like Pokemon and these other sports, it's like my knowledge just drops off tremendously.
So this Lamal card, did you pass on it because you just weren't comfortable? Is that the idea?
Yeah, so like I have a pretty good understanding, like when people bring cards in the store, obviously use card ladder and that sort of thing. But when you're speaking like about a 1-of-1 in the ultra high end market, it's a much different ball game. Just like again, hockey, it's like that's why I love dealing with hockey, is because we've dealt with so many big cards and so many different versions of each one of these 1-of-1 parallels. And like example for O-Pee-Chee Platinum, we have the True Base, we have the Golden Treasure, we have the photo variant. Like this is when you get into the other sports where it's the exact same ballpark, but I haven't, had the familiarity to deal with those cards. So the exact card that got brought up to our booth was the Yamin Yamal 1-of-1 Shimmer. So again, it's not the True Black, but it's the Shimmer 1-of-1. And then it was a variation of it was like an insert. So like you compare it to like the True Black, and the True Black's going to be like $100,000 card, but then now you're talking about 10% of the value because it's a shimmer and it's an insert. And so I asked a few people actually on it. And like the consensus around the card was around like $5,000 value, and then heard that he sold it for like $8,000 to the next vendor. Like, so it's crazy, like to see, the difference of opinions and who's willing to take a risk. And obviously in soccer right now, being in FIFA, like the market's crazy. Yeah. So that was just a card I didn't know.
I think though too, as tempting as those deals can be, it is, I think, overall smart to stick with what you know. That sure, you might have maybe offered $4,000 and doubled your money, but you also could have made a giant mistake where you could have lost a lot of money in that process too. And at the end of the day, it's there's so much nuance to cards, and you think of hockey especially, like we have all these kind of weird things that, well, like the Cup Gold RPAs were traditionally worth less than the true RPAs, but now in the last 8 months are kind of worth more than, and it's like you have to, when you have a deep understanding of something, you can more confidently understand what you're buying and understand what the value is and what people might be willing to pay for that. Where a great deal walks up to your table, it's hard to say no maybe sometimes, but that might be the smart thing to do.
Yeah, and especially as a vendor perspective, right? It's like dealing in a card and a space that you don't know as well. It's like, okay, well, has this guy gone to every single vendor and I'm the last vendor that's paying the most type thing as well? So it's like that's where I love dealing in my space. Hockey's my thing, and I have the confidence no matter what. But when you get into those other sports, those are the questions that you ask at the back of your head. It's like, well, how many vendors have passed on this, and now he's bringing it to my booth? So there's a multitude of factors that go into it. But
when you go back to the Pokemon thing in Montreal, was there a resolution to that? Or are you just out the money? Is there any hope in those cases that the people get caught or anything like that?
Yeah, so unfortunately, there wasn't any resolution. I just wrapped up the police report with the Laval police. They called me, asked me if I wanted the slabs back. On that case, like I kind of knew right away, like you know, in these situations where it's a cash deal and like at a show like this, and especially when they start to like run off type thing, you just know who you're dealing with, and it's a very slim, you know, chance at actually getting these people in custody and getting your money back. But we did file the police report. The police were on site like 30 minutes after the incident happened. I hope for future shows, and especially as we're starting to see like trackers on people's cars and stuff like that, like I hope these shows, you know, step up their security, because it is a concern. And it's like when you have people going around vendors' cars and adding trackers on the back of it, and like we have to have a security guard surveying the back parking lots, and we have to have more security at these shows, because you're hearing about it every single week about something happening at one of these shows. And you know, the people who run these, like these are gigantic shows, and when we're talking about, you know, employing a couple more people to make it more secure, I hope that does actually start to become more secure, and a little bit more attention goes into that.
It's felt to me that we as an industry have been a little fast and loose at shows for a couple of years now, and the hobby has never been more popular. The values have never been higher, and it's, you know, that also creates more opportunity for people that have ill intentions with and so I only assume this will go, you know, more and more. Like one of the things that I always can never believe is that when you buy a card from a vendor at a table and you hand him $300 or something for the card, and he pulls out like the biggest, thickest wad of cash you've ever seen in your life. And it's like, do you really need to have $150,000 in cash in your pocket? Or, I mean, how stupid inherently is that? Because it just takes the wrong person to say, oh,
100%.
there's
Yeah.
an easy mark right there. I'm going to hang out here and follow this person when they go out to their car. And, you know, it's like, and so I think you're right. I think shows have to pay more attention. I think collectors have to pay more attention. You know, we're carrying around these Zion cases with $50,000 worth
Yeah.
of stuff in them, and vendors too. So after that experience, did it change your perspective at all? Have you made, like, I assume you bought one of those black light things, and are you doing some things differently
Yeah,
now?
like yeah, the way I handle shows and the way I go about it is a lot different. That was sort of like the first time where it's like, wow, you know, like, you know, these people are all around us, and it's like it hadn't happened to me at that point. But at the same shows, we found the tracker on the car, like the whole caboot all happened on the same show in Montreal.
Wait,
So
you
that
you,
was
you found tracker on your car?
like right, yeah, like there was like 3 vendors in a row, and there was all trackers under all of our cars, and that
Like,
was like,
where on the
okay,
car? Like in the wheel well or something like that?
it's under the hood. There's like a metal bar, and that's what they attach it to. So like you should have saw the sites in Montreal. Like there was like 25 vendors all crawling under their cars. It was a disaster. Honestly, it was scary. And so even for like Toronto, our shows and stuff like that, like everyone's now taking, you know, more steps and more precautions, especially as vendors. So we know what to look out for and be prepared to take those steps. And it's just, yeah, everyone's more on alert now. And taking the security measures to make sure that that this stuff doesn't happen again.
That had to feel really disconcerting to have a tracker on your car.
Yeah,
Like I
no,
would think that I mean, like, it's like a violation in a certain way, right? Where it's like,
yeah.
because you don't know what the people are going to do once they track you.
Oh, of course. That's why, like, just yeah, it's I won't say obviously what the steps we're taking, but yeah,
No.
most vendors should be taking extra steps traveling to shows and the way you go about things.
I think it's safe to say at this point too, to never ever leave anything in your car at a show.
Yeah, car, house, never. Like
Or
if
don't put $100,000 worth of stuff after a show and go out to dinner and park at a restaurant either.
Yeah, I made that mistake actually 2-3 years ago, and I remember being in like the restaurant. I think it was the first year we did the event, so it was like a year and a half ago. And we came out of the car and or out of the restaurant at the end of the night, and one of the collectors' cars has just been broken into, like just 2 cars down from mine. And I'm like, holy shit! And the guy took, I think it was like some sort of supplies for his job. And I was like, that's insane. Like, I'll never make that mistake again, too.
Mm-hmm. Do you get the sense from like show promoters that they are more in tune with this, or that they are starting to pay more attention to just overall security?
I think so. I think that Montreal show was actually like especially for Canadian shows. I think we're going to see a much better security and more measures in place. I think that was like really the show that was like, oh my gosh, this is like actually a concerning threat. So I think we will have security guards at the back where the vendors park and that sort of stuff going on in the future. I don't know about U.S. shows. I'm not as familiar, but
Yeah.
Steve at the Expo does a great job at that. And I know he's not going to take that lightly once he heard about it.
Have you ever considered having a security guard at your booth? Is that something that you would think about in the future, or is that not necessary?
It not on our end. Like the great thing about what we have at our booth and what we collect is every single card is serial numbered. Like I would be more concerned if I was a Pokemon dealer or these cards that are easy to crack and not trace. Like most of the stuff for hockey is all serial numbered. So good luck. Like if you steal anything from a hockey vendor or even multi-sport that's not Pokemon, if it has a serial number on it, like that card is if it surfaces, people will know. So from that end, I feel a little bit more secure, like someone trying to take a specific card. But I don't think we'll ever get to that point. But who knows? Like,
yeah, who knows where it's going. Well, sorry that happened to you. That's no fun for sure. But all you can do after it happens is learn, right? You either win or learn in life. That's sort of the philosophy that I try to take, and that at least helps you sleep a little bit better at night. You were just in Middle America, the football country, college football country, Columbus, Ohio. Why did you go there?
Yeah, Ryan from Card Collector 2 invited us out. He said he wanted to have some hockey selection at his show, and I was super excited to take the trip there and it'd be our first U.S. show of the year. Really, we have 3 or 4 shows in the U.S. That we attend each year, but most of them were just traveling down to buy. So it was pretty cool and great to set up there. So we had 3 booths there, and we got to display a whole bunch of hockey and multi-sport. And one thing like is just crazy, the multi-sport there. It's just completely different ball game and level than here in Canada at our shows. So that was actually like the most surprising thing, where we had like 2 showcases filled with multi-sport, and they were sold out within the first 20 minutes. It was insane. So yeah, we headed down there and saw a decent amount of hockey too, because Pittsburgh, a lot of people came down from Pittsburgh. There was some Crosby and Lemieux stuff, so I was happy and had a lot of fun the weekend.
Any surprises as far as like what people are interested in hockey wise that maybe is different than you see in the GTA?
Not like a ton. Like it's the same thing. Like McDavid, Crosby, like the people that are probably less familiar with hockey and what they want to pick up maybe as an investment piece, or the players that they see on their TV and in the news is all going to be the same guys here in Canada. I didn't have too much Columbus stuff because they only got a few players that you can actually have inventory of, and they seem to want to trade them all. So I didn't have too much stuff aside from Adam.
Yeah, it was a weird weekend from a Blue Jackets perspective with the whole Werenski thing going down.
Yeah, and then Marchenko was rumored that weekend. I had Eric, who's a huge Columbus fan, setting up with me, and he was just like, his head was spinning the whole weekend. He's like, I don't know what's going on. My team was wanting to get rid of everyone. So it was a funny weekend.
Did you go check out Ryan's shop at all?
No, unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to. We were right downtown in Columbus, and the show was early every day. So that was like one thing I wasn't used to, is the show opened up at like 8 a.m. For Super VIP. So that was like a change, where it's like most nights were early, and we had to get up so early. So didn't have too much time after the shows.
I don't know, Ryan, have you talked to him much about sort of he seemed like he's kind of a hockey fan. I think I've seen him at Blue Jackets games and stuff like that. Has he given you any insight as to the trend in hockey from how he sees it in his area?
Yeah, he's right into hockey. I don't know what the trend side from Columbus, but he's showed me his collection actually on the weekend of what he has for hockey. So he's got a few pieces of all the top players you need to have for hockey, and he's definitely a fan of it. I don't think it's as popular out there, but they definitely do well with it from the Columbus market. Like there was a lot of hockey fans that came by the booth, and I love like being set up at a US show where there's not a ton of selection for hockey, because it's kind of like you have like a central hub where all the collectors for hockey fans just are around the booth trading and buying, selling, all that fun stuff. So it's like you little trade section in the middle of the show for hockey collectors.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so happy travels. You're back at home now. You survived a pretty grueling gauntlet over the last month, and kind of curious, just a couple overall hobby topics wanted to get your opinion on. I assume that everything is still pointing to the health of the hobby being in great shape. Everything you've seen.
Yeah, it's been very very good. Everything seems to keep going up and up, especially these other sports. The one thing when I was pricing out a bunch of my non-hockey selection, like the market on Kobe's and Jordans and those type of guys, I can't even fathom it. Like 3 months ago, some of these insert cards and that sort of stuff have doubled in price. Like I wasn't even aware of that until I went to reprice a few things, and I was like, wow, like we definitely haven't seen that tick for hockey. But I mean, if that's the swing that the other sports are going, who knows? So,
is there a part of you that, because every market goes up and down, it can't just go up forever, and as the values they're compounding in a lot of cases, like you've said, even on the hockey side, we've talked about the Shield market before, where I'm sure if you could go into your hot tub time machine, you'd buy every Shield on earth 4 years ago at this place, given where they're at today. But now as these deals come in, and it's not just somebody wanting $6,000 for a Shield, they want $60,000 for a Shield. Is that started to, it's like, how much money can I put into these cards if and when a correction eventually comes?
Yeah, that's something that I'm sort of, debating and dealing with this year, because we went so crazy on our bounties last year and promoted them, and that's sort of a decision where I'm at right now. For some of these bigger shows coming up, we have Fanatics Fest in Chicago just around the corner. I definitely am debating moving a few pieces just so we can carry over those bounties and create new bounties for this year coming up, because it is so much money. And that's probably what I'm going to do is, be able to move a few pieces and then put out new bounties, and that helps the product and obviously creates the hype for some of these cards to chase after. So, as a vendor who, if it's not part of my collection, obviously I want to be safe and be fluent with the market. Sometimes it goes up and you lose, and sometimes it goes down and you made the right decision. So you can never really tell. Just try to predict it the best I can and be fluent with it.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, there's I think a part of us, going back to human nature, where we're always kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop, and it just seems to be going up, up, up. And even the most pessimistic side of me that says, well, it has to start to come back a little bit. It's like, I can't find any evidence though that sort of supports that. And I think on the hockey side too, where we're a little bit, in a way, lucky in how small it is, that I think that insulates us a little bit too. Like we looked at, a couple weeks ago, at the top selling athletes on eBay. I think it was for May, and Gretzky was number one with like $600,000 US total spent on eBay on Wayne Gretzky cards for that month. The converse side, Victor Wembanyama was number one in basketball, and it was like 16.5 million. So it's just like so many more multiples. And so my theory is that even if the sports card or trading card market as a whole starts to get hit a little bit, we won't feel it. We don't get the explosive gains that Kobe cards do, but then hopefully we won't get the hit as hard when things retreat a little bit too.
Yeah, that's been the case with hockey. That's why I love, storing away legends of the space. And it just seems like they're so consistent. They trickle up like year by year by 5-10%. Like we never really see a double in hockey. Whereas, example, I was talking about the Kobe market just doubling in 2 months, right? Like we haven't had that in hockey ever, really, just COVID. But like our natural growth for hockey is reassuring. And maybe we see a downtick of 10%, but we won't experience the fluctuation as these other sports.
Okay, last sort of topic that I wanted to get your insight on is it's been a bit of a talker on our show and something that we're hearing a lot from people, the quality of autographs from the kids, the rookies, and not quality in like streakiness or but just how kind of bad most young people are at cursive writing and actually signing their name. And it seems to be becoming a real issue. You go and you compare like a Sidney Crosby autograph to an Ivan Demonov autograph, and it's well, there is no comparison, and there's a lot of reasons for it, and it's certainly not Upper Deck's fault. It's I have a 20-year-old and a 17-year-old, and they were never taught cursive. Like they literally print their name when they sign it. But all that being said, it's like at some point will the hobby change in a way because I kind of call it the scribble era, where it's just kind of scribbles and it's not as will we stop is there a chance where maybe the focus or attention or value goes in other places because people don't want to spend huge amount of money for an autograph that doesn't look very good?
Yeah, I mean, I can speak on that. Like my cursive is horrible. Being one from a younger generation, we didn't practice it. So
Yeah.
I feel for all the up and coming prospects that have bad signatures. The ones that put like just their initials, that's crazy. Like you gotta do more than that. But I do think that's just like the natural curve of.
Well, the world is changing, right?
Exactly.
I mean,
yeah. Like
that's the.
we're not getting.
Have you noticed all the inscriptions now? And my
I
theory is that all the inscriptions are probably, well, if I'm right, a smart strategy by Upper Deck to compensate for the fact that the autos don't look very good.
Yeah, I mean that could be the case. I think they're just they're trying to find ways of making more cards unique and bigger chases, which is like I love the idea, right? Like when you have a Future Watch autograph numbered to 100, like why not make the jersey number a unique piece of history with the inscription and add the crazy amount of value rather than it just being the jersey number RPA, right? Like there's so many small things that you can do to create value for your customers and collectors. So I think Upper Deck's really doing a good job on that. As for signatures, I mean, as long as it's not like an actual scribble or just like an initial, like I don't think it's gonna hurt too much the value of the cards and people's interest in it. I still think the whole collectability is there. It just might not be as great to display on your wall when you have like a nice signature of Crosby versus Demidov, or example Lafreniere. Like that one always kills me. That one's like a bigger signature, but like you would question if he's ever.
It's like a 3-year-old kind of wrote it, again, it's not like that kind of weird, like maybe this is controversial, but I've never loved Patrick Waugh's auto. It doesn't have a lot of flow. It's like it seems very choppy, and so and other people might love it. There might be opinions, and I'm not poo-pooing cards. I'm just curious that because I think that, like, let's say autos in general 5 years from now don't have the same value. It's interesting to me to see like where the shift would be. It's not that people not collecting cards. It's like, will they value patches, or now that we're getting more game dated memorabilia in cards, well, is that where the value will go? And or will Upper Deck put more effort into maybe like an autograph school at the rookie showcase or something like that to stress the importance of this, because I think it's important for the players too, not just for the cards and for Upper Deck and us, the community. But a guy like Sidney Crosby, he doesn't need money, of course, but based on how much care he puts in his autograph, he could make a living for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
Just signing 100%. His auto versus some sort of scribble.
And it's, I think I was just watching an episode of Bobby Witt with Tom Brady Card Vault, and he was speaking, because he's a collector, and he was speaking how much like it brings character to the player when you actually care about your signature and making sure that the collectors know it's your autograph and that's your name behind it, right? Instead of just doing your initials where anyone could write that out. And that was a great episode where he's a collector and he actually changed his signature after his rookie year to make sure that people could see that it was Bobby Witt, because he had the same signature as his father, that he had before his rookie year. So, and Tom Brady, I guess, had the same exact thing where he had a signature that resembled his dad, and then after his rookie year, he changed it to make it his autograph that we know today.
that's
So
cool.
I hope maybe a lot of new players, as the hobby grows and they're more in tune with the value of these actual cards. Like every time I've sat down with a player and I've said like, hey, do you know what your most expensive card is worth, or what these cards that you're signing is worth? The face that they make when you tell them what these cards are actually worth, like they're signing it and they have no idea that like that could be a $200 card or that could be a $1,000 card. Like they have no idea when they're signing these. So if we, introduce them to the hobby and let them know, like maybe they will be more aware, and
Like when Matthew Schaefer is signing his like debut jersey Shield 101, wherever that is, like somebody needs to say, Matthew, I know you've signed 800 cards. This could be a $200,000 card. Let's not like motor through this one. Like this merits, taking a breath, a drink of water, walking around for a few minutes, and then, doing your best auto.
Exactly. And yeah, I think the more they're aware with that, because I had the exact same situation happen where I was doing an opening recently, and the player had no idea like what his signature card was worth. Just thought it was like a normal auto and a couple dollars. Like it's crazy that they don't even know the hobby side of it, or that trading cards have appreciated in value so much. So it's cool to see, and that's probably the solution for these bad signatures that we're seeing right now.
Oh, I didn't get to ask you, how was the draft?
Oh, it was great.
You went,
was a lot of fun.
Yeah. You got to
we
go.
went to Buffalo from David Adams, and the NHLPA had a sort of like a private event where they had 8 NHLers out there opening up boxes for some of David Adams' best customers, and we just got to go down there to do some media and some filming. It was an unreal experience. It was really, really cool to see the NHLPA and Upper Deck, getting these athletes in there and involved. Scotty Upshaw has been doing a great job right now. He's creating so much content with these NHLers. Like I think he just did Gretzky, which is insane. And he had Joe Pavelski recently. That was a great video. So like we're starting to see these NHLers opening up packs, being more aware of the industry and the space. And what Scotty was telling me, example, was like a lot of these players don't know that even like their materials, or whether it be the trading cards or the game used memorabilia, like they have no idea that when you're in the Olympics, like that jersey that you're wearing or that piece of equipment that you're wearing is so valuable, right? Like they might just throw it back in their equipment bag, but it's like that's a gold medal, blocker, a gold medal like pair of pants. Like so, it's cool that he's bringing awareness to that, and I think the more and more that happens, is the more we're going to see growth in this industry. And they did a great job of that event, and I think also Upper Deck, King of Cards had so much content at the draft that was surreal. It's exactly what we need. I've been waiting for a few years for that to happen, and it's
was he working for ESPN? Is that what?
I think he did something with ESPN. He did something with Upper Deck. Obviously getting like the new players, McKenna and all the draft picks, doing some content with that. It's just cool. You see a different side of those players that you never would have seen, dating back. We never seen any videos or social media side of these players. And now you give a personality and a media platform for them. And that's how you're going to grow hockey. Like Gavin McKenna's following went up like, I think 80 to 100,000 followers, just from a few posts with like Justin Bieber at the draft and that sort of stuff. But now he's one of the most followed hockey players. He hasn't even played an NHL game, right? So that's like a big factor for.
Was not
hockey.
A bad result for having a hobby shop in Toronto, huh? To have Gavin McKenna go number 1.
That was surreal. We were playing a beer league game, and we just heard the other bench just start screaming, and we're like, what's going on? And they're like, we just got the first overall pick, and I was like, you're lying. Like, there's no chance. We had a 7% chance. And I remember that day. That was unreal.
Collusion.
Yeah, very happy with that. Yeah, you know what? You can definitely ask that question when you see the biggest names and the generational talents and where they've gone. But I can't complain being in Toronto.
You happy with the Leafs moves so far? Bobrovsky and.
Yeah, as a Joseph Wall fan, I was sad to see him go, but Bobrovsky, oh my gosh, and Darren Radish was good. I mean, they're spending the money, so we'll see. It's gonna be an interesting year. Definitely better than how we left off.
All right. Well, we'll see you in Halifax in just well, actually, when this will be in Halifax, when this airs. So maybe we'll have to like share a lobster or something like that. I don't know.
Lobster rolls on deck. Let's go.
All right, here we go, buddy. All right, Grant, thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Josh.
All right, thanks again to Grant for joining the show. Man, it's wild times. It makes sense, right? That there's so much money in the hobby now. It's going mainstream. That not only are more Joe Blow everyday collectors getting awareness, but also people with nefarious ideas too.
Yep.
So, and I can't believe that, but you have to be very careful about, they're putting trackers on cars in parking lots. And I know shows are working to address this sort of stuff, but I think though, it's so important for everyone to really not brush aside common sense safety measures at this point. Don't leave stuff in your car at a show. Don't flaunt a $100,000 Zion case around to anyone and everyone. And if you have a lot of cash on you, you don't need to pull out $100,000 cash and brandish it for the world to see, because the wrong person sees that, and you could find yourself in a world of trouble later on.
I've seen those Zion cases where, you can have a few cards that are kind of like on the outside of your case so you can show them off. And I'm like, I don't know if I really want to do that. Like, you don't want to show off a $100,000 card on the outside of your Zion case. Like, look what I got, which is a nice flex, but you might need a bodyguard going into the parking lot. So,
and it sucks.
Yeah.
I hate the way that our world is this way, where you literally at this point have to think, I'm going to a card show. Okay, what am I doing? Am I brandishing too much heat with my collection or cash, or how am I making sure that everything's going to be safe and secure? Is everything out of my car? And for the show promoters themselves, who deeply care about the people there, that they probably have to go through a whole bunch of hoops now to further protect people. But I was given this world, I didn't make it. It's one of my favorite quotes. Yep. And we just have to operate in it and make sure that, again, that everyone's protecting themselves. So
one of my scariest moments was the first expo I flew home on. I brought my Zion case with me with basically all of my most valuable cards, because I wasn't sure if I was going to move them. Anyways, I didn't move them. They flew home with me in my carry-on. So my carry-on is above my head on the plane. And the plane gets off and I open the thing and my suitcase is gone. It's gone. It's not there. I run off the plane and some lady had mistaken it for her carry-on bag. But boy, let me tell you, the heart attack I had for 5 minutes when that case went missing.
And she didn't realize that it was super heavy because a big... Yeah.
It wasn't even the same remotely color blue either. Like the case that the suitcase that she had was so light, and mine had everything in it. Plus that it was so heavy. It was like 50 pounds. And I'm like, how did you not go to pick it up and go, obviously this is way heavier than my kids carry on. But anyways, that was scary. Very scary. So yeah, protection, keep it safe.
Okay, we're on to personal pickups. Dave's pickups, because Lou and I have bupkis to share. All right, Dave. Well,
I can share one if we want, but...
Ooh.
Okay, so first we have a 24-25 Parker's Champions. This is the Greats, because, you can't say, Legends?
Yeah.
Greats Blue Auto out of 10 of Rob Blake. Huge fan of Rob Blake and a huge fan of this card design. The blue autos, I'm like falling in love with these, and it's kind of like this new watch list that I've got going on where I haven't bought a ton of them, but I'm noticing them. They're very, very good looking cards. So
it's a great shade of blue, like a royal blue, that is very striking. So we previewed on Monday 2025-26 Parkhurst, and kind of the biggest change, from my opinion, is it's only vets and rookies. Now there's no retired legendary great players. Does that bum you out a little bit?
Super bums me out. Yep. Because to be honest with you, I do pick up some vet cards, but I definitely mostly focus on those great Hall of Famer legend type of players. So yeah, it is a bummer. Definitely a bummer. So I will be, but you know what? There's a few years of sets with them, and I'll just kind of slowly be scooping up some stuff from it. So
Well, let's talk about the next one because it's
Yeah.
so different.
So the next one, so same card, Rob Blake, 24-25 Parker's champion, but this is the patch auto out of 10.
Patch of what? Are those like
what's it
grandma's
from?
mittens that she knitted for him, or
Isn't
what?
that such a cool
Yes.
patch? It really does look like mittens. But I'm guessing it's from a sock. That would
Probably.
be
Right. It
that
has to be a sock.
has to be a sock. It's definitely not jersey. It's very yeah. I think it's from his sock. So
Well, you say
very
sock
cool.
or jock?
Yes.
We're gonna go with sock. I don't
Okay.
think they put yeah. Unless that's the mitten that goes over the jock, but yeah, I think it's
Okay.
mostly the leg sock.
Oh,
So it was really cool to pair those two cards up, and they're both numbered 3 of 10, which I found
Aw.
out when I opened them. So pretty cool. Didn't even know that.
maybe he got it from Flea. He might
Yeah.
have got it from Flea. Anyways,
From who? Yeah.
Flea, Red
All
Hot
right.
Chili Peppers. Okay. Anyway,
Red Hot Chili Peppers. Okay, number
Oh.
this. So if you have watched some inappropriate videos, you've seen me hit myself in the nuts. This was actually the card that I was cracking when I did that. This is the 2016-17 Premier Tribute Super Rookie Patch Auto out of 25 of Joe Thornton in the Boston Bruins uni. Great patch, great card design. This is one of my favorite card designs. And whenever I can pick up a Hall of Fame legend player like Joe Thornton, then I scoop it up. So
Great card.
pretty happy. And it's been freed from its prison of the grade, the card holder, and it's now in a nice, beautiful looking one touch. So
it's nut-tacular.
yeah, and it is. It only cost me one nut.
Perfect.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh.
So on
Sometimes
to
you feel like a nut. Oh, sorry.
so okay, the next two cards. This is from the 23-24 Ultimate Collection. This is the one that Phil doesn't like me to say, but it's the Fleur de Lis.
Oh, you did good. You did good. The
auto.
fleur de lis. Yeah.
Fleur de Lis. Fleur de Lis. Did I say it with the right
Fleur.
accent?
Fleur.
Fleur de Lis.
You sound like the Martin Short when he in Faja the Bride when he is got the very pronounced accent.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I'm not good at accents and I'm not good at speaking English even. So, but this is the Marc-Andre Fleury. I can't remember. I reached out to someone. I think this was over Facebook and made a deal, but man, these cards, that Fleur de Lis symbol, it just makes these cards amazing. So there's the Marc-Andre Fleury, and then the second one.
Hold on, I got a question for you.
Oh yeah,
And I'm not tearing down the card. I love it. I think it's great. You know how this is going very extreme though. Let's take is that who shoot. That is your next one though. Well, I'll go to the next one, but remember
Okay.
this. Remember
Okay.
this one.
well you can go back and forth. So, same card design from Ultimate, but it is the Patrick Waugh copy. Both of these are numbered out of 10, and there's 8 cards in the checklist. I am now, after Halifax, as of today, I will have 5 of the 8
Yeah,
in
boy.
my. Oh, do I have 5? 4? No, 4. Sorry, I jumped ahead. 4 of the 8 in my collection.
Oh, I'm sorry, Dave. The checklist actually has 16.
No, no, it does not. I asked Billy.
There's 79
Specifically
players on the
because-
checklist.
3 of them came out in 23-24, and there were 5 updates in 24-25. And so I asked Billy specifically, like, are there any more coming out, or is that it? Is there only 8? He said, no, there's only 8. I said, okay. So I know. I want to make sure because I don't want any more surprises.
I love it. Now I just noticed something else too. I want to show. So now
Yeah.
look at the patch in this. 3 colors, pretty,
Yep.
right?
Mhm.
It's almost, except for opposite, the same as this, just the other
Yes.
way.
Oh yeah.
Now, my original question though. Let's start with the Waugh.
Okay.
If this, now I know we don't like, say this was Wah in Colorado jersey and he's got the Canadians patch in there, okay? That's taking it really far, different team.
Yes.
Oh, but now, are we cool with the retro
I would
Wild
have
jersey?
loved to see Fleury in the retro uniform.
Yeah, that's always a miss by Upper Deck. And
I do really like when the patch matches the jersey. It's the same thing with Kings. Like a lot of times it's like they're in the purple uniform, but they got the black and silver patch or whatever. I don't like that as much. It doesn't completely, obviously, I bought the card, so it doesn't completely deter me from buying the card, but I do very, very much like it. Now, if it was a situation where it's Patrick Waugh in his Colorado uniform, and then you have the Montreal colored uniform, I probably would not buy the card, even with wanting to complete the set. That would be a difficult one for me because I do not have any mix and matching.
Got it.
Where the team and the patch are two different. I don't.
The
like
overall point of this card, though, to me, is to celebrate the French Canadian heritage, right? So it's all players that are from Quebec, and but yeah, anytime you have consistency around patch and jersey, and it would have just been, given that the whole concept is French Canadian heritage, to put Patrick Waugh in an Avalanche jersey would be well. Not only is that's an American team, but it's the Quebec team that left Quebec for America. I think people would have lost their mind.
Right.
Yeah.
And there is the organization of the patch and the card does play a part because there is a Jonathan Marchessault who I'm missing. There is one on eBay. I have stared at it several times and I just cannot get over the design of the patch. I do not like it. And so I'm hedging my bet that another one will come for sale at some point with a patch that's more symmetrical. And I will go after that one. But the one that's currently on eBay, I just cannot, my eyes just can't get over that patch. And so
since there's like 8 people listening that could help, who else do you need?
So I need Guy Lafleur. I know someone who has 2 of them, but does not want to let them go. So that's okay. There's 8 more copies out there. So I need Guy Lafleur. I need Patrice Bergeron. I need Chris Letang, and I need Jonathan Marchessault. So I have the Waugh, the Fleury, the Lemieux that I picked up, and the Robitaille.
Cool.
The Robitaille, which is right here.
Robitilli.
Little.
Crack it.
Nice.
I don't want to crack this one, but I would like another Robitaille that's raw. So I am also looking for another Robitaille. I would like to have 2 of them. So yeah.
Anything else, David?
That's it. I reserved.
I'll show mine because I accidentally
You
teased
flashed
it
it already.
Yeah. So picked up a 24-25 Metal Universe green PMG Nico Hischier out of 10.
Very nice.
It's cool.
Looks nice. That's
like
a nice
it.
design. Yeah.
If you're into bookends, it's a 10 out of 10. I didn't plan it that way, but it's kind of cool.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Good
I got
job,
a green PMG, guys.
Is this your first one?
Yeah. I
Oh,
did
nice.
pull one.
Oh, right. But you sold it.
It was Letang, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a big loser. I got nothing. I suck at this.
Well,
Yeah.
you could run outside really quick. It'd be fun. Go check your mail
Yeah.
and come back.
Nah.
Make for good entertainment.
More to show at a later date. And you guys did good work. We'll be back Monday with our Halifax recap episode. Very much looking forward to that. And if you like the episode, please leave a rating, review on Apple, Spotify, whatever podcast app you listen to us on. If you love the show, if you love Louie, maybe too much, but you want to support us and chat with us on the Hockey Cards Gongshow Discord server, please consider a $5 a month donation. Join our $999 support level tier on Patreon. Link is in the show's website, hockeycardsgongshow.com, or on Patreon's website. You can type in patreon.com and then search for The Gong Show. Also, follow us on social media. We are on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube. And boys, the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast is a production of Dollar Box Ventures LLC. Have an awesome rest of your week. And we are having the time of our life in Eastern Canada, and we can't wait to share our experiences with you on Monday. Baba Louie, take us out.
Bye.
Yo, it's the Gong Show. We're dropping the facts. Hockey cards on fire. No holding us back. Josh looking sharp, the face of the scene. Feeling pork chop pants, rocking it clean. Baba Louie in the booth, he's the man with the plan. The best producer in all the land. Gong Show Nation, let's hit the flow. It's the Hockey Cards Gong Show. Let's go, let's go. Wanna say them in show.
Is it weird that I've developed emotional feelings for my cat?